everybody, welcome into another episode of Off Air with Jason and Alicia. I'm Jason, and that, I believe, is Alicia over there.
Hey! What's up?
We are a few days away from Pride, and...
Well, it's been a month long of Pride.
It's been a month long. Oh!
It's Pride month.
We're a few days away from the Pride Festival here in Minneapolis, and so we wanted to have a good old conversation about just gay.
That's it.
We have Lydia, so this is a special guest. We have Lydia. They usually are punching the show up from behind the scenes, and we decided to bring them out in front of the camera.
Welcome to Off Air.
Appearance.
Tell the folks what you do here at KARE 11.
So I do this podcast, but I also do a lot of like web articles and social media. I'm kind of just like a jack of all trades.
Yes.
Yeah.
You really are. And we appreciate you sitting through all of these off airs.
Well, I enjoy it.
You hear laughter in the back, that's Lydia, every time.
Yep, that's
well, welcome to Off Air.
Thank you.
Yeah.
How are you both enjoying Pride Month so far? Have you done fun things? Have you gone out?
First of all, for the record, just want to let you know, I am gay. So please stop your advances. No, I'm kidding.
Cool it.
Burn it.
It's been a couple years since I came out on television that morning. I was on Lavender magazine, and I decided, you know what, let's just do it. And the community has been embracing and just so wonderful so far. I've never felt more comfortable being myself anywhere that I've lived, other than Minnesota, than Minneapolis. It's been
sweet.
just so great.
I have to say, I watched that video back just to like refresh myself. I was so impressed that you came out on live television. I've always been bawling when I've had those conversations. They're very emotional, and to have that conversation and be able to take it so professionally, I was wildly impressed.
Thank you. I think this one in front of me really helped. The entire team, actually, between you and John and Cece. Because I remember having conversations with you ahead of time. Sonia at the Aliveness Project wanted me to appear on the cover of Lavender to promote Dining Out for Life. And she's like, you could also, while you're at it, kind of come out. And I was like, you know what? Let's do it. Why not? I want to, we always talk about transparency here on Sunrise and being authentic, and I felt like I couldn't live my authentic truth and be my authentic self if people didn't know about that aspect of my life. And you were so encouraging throughout that, and I appreciate you so much. You've always been encouraging.
Sunrise.
Yes. Because we share so much of our lives on the show, which we don't have to, but it does create this connectedness to the viewer. And I remember asking you, would you want to share? And you're like, I would like to, but you were afraid. Mm-hmm. And it broke my heart for you. And I was just like, we spend so much of our life seeking the approval of others, whether it's our parents, our friends, our colleagues, just random strangers. And I feel like we're walking these paths of other people's expectations. We kind of forget to walk our own path and speak our own truth and find our own self. And I feel like the moment you finally did that, there was a different version of you, because you stopped looking I don't need approval from others. I approve myself. I love myself. And I saw that come out of you, and sometimes I was bawling during. I was just
so real.
I felt it was so real and raw, and you did it, and I was so proud of you, and I'm still so proud of you to this day, because I know, hearing from you both, that it's not easy to do that, especially to your own family, coming out to your family and what they'll think, and that's gotta be terrifying. And you did it on TV, and it blew up.
Yeah,
it really
blew up for good reason.
I heard from people all over the world, people from all over the community. People still come up to me to this day, and they're like, "Thank you for doing that. Thank you for providing that visibility. It meant so much to me. It meant so much to my son, who happens to be gay and was inspired by that to come out." Coming out is and you probably know this, Lydia. It's a constant journey. I feel like I've come out so many times in my life to so many people, and it's always kind of nerve-wracking.
Very nerve-wracking. I always tend to think of it as the movie Groundhog Day, where it's the same day repeating over and over again. Mm-hmm. And it's I'm having the same conversation, and sometimes it's getting easier, and sometimes it's still really hard.
Yeah, sitting at even something simple as sitting down at a dentist chair. You have a new dentist. You just moved to town, and you have a new dentist, and they're like, "Oh, so you're here with your girlfriend?" And I'm like, "Well, here we go."
That's so fair.
The Groundhog Day reference is really spot on for this.
It is.
Yeah, and even just in conversations, that I have in passing with people, they'll be like, "What are you doing this weekend?" And you're kind of cataloging, is it safe to say my partner in this scenario? Because they're going to know, then. And so, you're kind of, evaluating each conversation. Mm-hmm. But in order to, have that, on TV coming out moment. Like that's great. Like that's kind of getting it all out in the open, getting it all out of the way.
Yeah.
Taking it all on at once, which is very impressive.
And I'm glad I did it. I will never ever live to regret
Good.
that. I'm curious, what's your journey been?
My
as a queer
journey.
person?
So I've had 2 coming outs. I came out as a lesbian when I was 20. And then within the last year, I've come out as non-binary as well. And so, like, the first person I told that I was a lesbian was my roommate at the time. And I couldn't even, like, make eye contact. I was so scared. And so we, like, lived in a very small apartment at the time, and we had bunk beds. And so I was on the top bunk, she was on the bottom bunk. Before we go to bed, she's probably, like, half asleep at this point. And so I was just like, oh, by the way, like, I'm gay. And she's, like, very sweet. I didn't make eye contact a single point in this whole conversation. I was on the top bunk. I did not want to deal with this at all.
Wow.
And she was so sweet, so supportive and everything. And then slowly, of course, I'm talking about it on KARE 11. So clearly I've gotten some confidence along the way.
It started with you coming out on top of a bunk bed, and now you doing this
Now I can talk to a camera.
here on multiple platforms.
Good. It's a safe place.
Yeah.
What about for, like, I know for families it's obviously very challenging to do that. You still talk about the hardships with your family too.
Mm-hmm.
What was that like for you?
Yeah, I think, well, with my family, it's also like a thing where, like, some of my family, like, it's just we're just not going to talk about it.
Okay.
And I'm going to live my life. And they're going to perceive what they perceive.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't always have to have that conversation.
Same.
And so it's kind of like, yeah, so it's kind of like a safety thing, but also a, like, they're going to know me at the level that they want to know me. And that's just sometimes the best you can get. So.
I think that's where my parents are now. It's been like 3 different times I've come out to them, and at this point, we just don't really talk about it. There's like
3 different times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving, and then one time when I came home from college, it was a whole thing. I'll get into that story another day. And then another time more recently, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gay. This is just the way it is. And I think at this point they just don't really want to talk about it.
Yeah.
It's just kind of a thing where they know it's a thing, and
Yeah.
I think sometimes in the back of their heads they're like, maybe it'll change, maybe it'll change your mind. And
I think my parents lost hope of it changing when I shaved my head. that they were like, oh, okay.
that was the point of no return.
They were like, all right. Oh yeah, my parents have actually come a long ways.
That's good.
That's great.
And so, like, they love my partner, and, like, they have been very supportive of me as of late. Yeah.
You're both incredibly brave for coming out and sharing your experience. I'm curious for people watching, like young folks that are completely terrified and they're watching this, they're like, how do I do this? What advice would you give to a young person, or not even a young person? There's people that have been hiding in the closet for so long and they just, like, want to come out. How can they do that?
I would say
in a
number
safe
one,
way?
don't feel pressured. Don't feel like you have to come out or it's this thing that you're obligated to do. Everybody's coming out journey is different. You come out when you feel like you are ready to come out, or else it's not going to go well. It's just kind of a feeling. Like, when you know it's time, you just kind of know it's time.
No, I agree with that. I think, like, and also, like, it's as real as it is to you at any point in time. So, like, even if you never come out, you're still queer. You're still LGBTQ. Like, you're still in that community. You don't have to have anyone else validate that experience to still, like, be who you are.
Right.
And so, like, yeah, so it is, like, a safety thing, too, of, like, do I have any potential risks in coming out and having this conversation? But it's also, like, it can be a kindness, too. Like, I kind of see it as, like, when I'm having that conversation with somebody, I'm inviting them to get to know me as who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And that kindness can either be, like, returned or it can be, like, denied. And that's just how we're going to move forward after that. But, yeah.
I will say every time I've come out, the reaction, aside from my parents, every time I've come out to, like, a friend or a colleague or an associate, the reaction's always been good. I've never had. There was one friend back in college who I came out to him, and he was asking everybody around me, all my friends, is there anything we can do to change him or fix him?
Oh.
Like,
No, that's
Yeah.
bad. That's not
His
good.
reaction was not great. He eventually grew to accept it, but, like, his initial reaction was, like, he was freaking out. Like,
Yeah.
how do we fix this? But, like, I go with all this trepidation and all this anxiety into these coming out moments, and I tell people, and they're like, okay, like, yeah, cool.
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
like
Great,
you
I'm
came
happy
out
for
to
you.
us on Sunrise, or like, I'm gay, and I'm like, I know. I hope that was a fine reaction, but it was like,
Sometimes
you were like surprised. You're like, well, how? I'm like, I don't know.
because there's all this build up and all this like, okay, I hope it's okay, I hope they accept, and then you're like,
Yeah.
I know, and I'm like, oh well, that was anticlimactic.
Yeah, sorry about it. I stole your thunder, I guess. I don't know. But after hearing about like where you worked before and the workplace and how you could never have come out, and then when I was like, oh my god, thank God you're here at like KARE 11 to be
Yeah.
such an accepting place, and it this state.
Yeah.
And I just was like, oh, I had like a sigh of relief for you. Like, it's okay. And I hope I didn't pressure you.
No, not at all.
When you were like, don't pressure people. And I was like, Jason, it's okay.
And
You're in a safe place, I promise.
For the record, the other stations I've come out, everybody has been accepting. I've come out to coworkers so many times and they've all been accepting. It's other states that I've lived in that haven't been as accepting in the
people.
surroundings. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's a journey and it's a process for everybody, and everybody's journey is different. You just kind of have to evaluate that and make sure you're surrounded with people that will love and accept that.
How did you feel after? Did it feel like a weight, or did you feel all of a sudden like, oh gosh, my guard is now up?
Like
or
for
both?
the first time or the 50th time I came out?
I don't
Which one?
Either. I guess maybe for the first time, and then
Yeah, I remember the first time I told my friend it was on a park bench at the University of Florida at like 10 o'clock at night, and I told her I was gay, and she was so happy and she cried.
That's
and
so
it was
sweet.
great. Yeah, it was,
That's a
it was
great
lovely.
conversation.
Yeah, it was very easy. I know it's not the same for everybody, and that's the thing. It's not everybody gets that reaction. That's why it's so scary.
Right,
But,
yeah.
So I don't know if your first time was as
Yeah, I mean, even recently, like, coming out as non-binary, like, it is, like, always, like, very nerve-wracking conversations, because you're like, oh, great, like, now I've had this conversation 1,000 times, now I have to have a whole new conversation. It's like, okay, great. But yeah, it's usually, for the most part, been, like, a lot of kindness, which is exactly what I would like for everybody to have that, when they have that conversation.
kindness, and you've been always very forgiving. Of
Yeah,
what,
oh, well, of
I
course,
screw
yeah.
it up all the time, and I know I do, and
with the pronouns.
with the pronouns, and I don't mean any harm. I know other people are like, oh, I screw it up all the time, but people don't mean harm at all.
No, and I feel like also, like, usually, like, when people catch themselves, correct themselves, like, when they, like, put in that effort to, like, meet me as who I am, like, I'm like, okay, I'm seeing your effort, like, this is also, like, sometimes, like, in coming out as non-binary, a lot of people have to have a conversation with themselves of, like, there are other parts of, like, this life that I've never encountered, and so, like, I might be, like, a completely new person to them, basically, and just that, like, they might have never met a non-binary person before. And so I'm always going to give that grace in that, like, you're learning,
It's
I'm
okay.
learning,
Bro.
and yeah, sometimes I even mess up myself, so just how it is.
Oh my goodness. Lydia, thank you so much for sharing. I
Yeah.
know this was like, we earlier in the week were like, let's have a big old gay episode and let's bring you on, and we're like, sure, let's do it. And here we are doing it. I love it.
I love you both. You're both
Yes.
incredible. People watching this are going to thank you for years to come for sharing your stories, because they're so powerful.
Well, thank you
empowering.
guys for inviting
If we can
me.
inspire a couple people, then we love it.
And you're going to be at the parade on Sunday?
We're
We're
gonna be
just,
there.
we're just right on track. We're just inspiring people left and right.
I love it. Love wins, everybody. Enjoy Pride. We'll see you out there. We're going to be on the float this weekend with KARE 11. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Me too.